Check 1, 2. Shabbat Shalom. We begin with these words of Hine Matov, celebrating being together on Shabbat again this week. If you need the words, they're on page 10. Hine Matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad gam yachad. We turn to page 12 as we welcome in Shabbat with these opening psalms. Psalm 95, Lechuna Ranina, come let us sing joyously to God. Lechu neranina, lechu neranina, lechu neranina ladonai. Lechu neranina, lechu neranina, lechu neranina ladonai. Naria, naria, Litzur yishenu nekadma fanav betodam. Naria, naria, Litzur yishenu bizmirot naria lo. Lechu neranina, lechu neranina, lechu neranina ladonai. Lechu neranina, lechu neranina, lechu neranina ladonai. If you haven't taken a moment yet, please introduce yourself to those around you, or at least say Shabbat Shalom if you already know them. To all of you joining us online, we wish you Shabbat Shalom. We turn to page 24 as we join in these words of Shalom Aleichem, welcoming the angels of Shabbat. Yai lai la lai lai, ya la lai la lai lai, ya la lai la la lai, ya la 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 lai, ya la lai lai, ya la 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 lai lai, ya la la lai lai, ya la 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 lai. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem. Malachi Hashavit, Malachi Elyon, Bi Melech, Malachi Hamalachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Lishalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Bi Melech, Malachi Hamalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Bi Melech, Malachi Hamalachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Bi Melech Malachi Hamalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Bi Melech, Malachi Hamalachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This setting by Debbie Friedman in this final verse, she used the Sephardic tradition. So instead of using the verse that you'll see on the page, Seitchem l'shalom, that the angels shall leave, we use the words Shuvchem l'shalom, that the angels shall return time and time again, week after week, as we gather again next week for Shabbat. Shuvchem l'shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Bi Melech, Malachi Hamalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Bi Melech, Malachi Hamalachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Page 26, Chatzi Kaddish. Yitgadal ve'yitkadash shemei Rabbam, be'almal divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chayedecho beit Yisrael, ba'gala, uv'izman kariv imeru. Amen. Yehi shemei Rabbam b'varach, le'alam ul almei almaya, yitbarach, ve'yishtabach, v'yipa'ar v'yitromam ve'yinaseh, ve'yitadar, ve'yitalal shemei dekudsha, berichu, le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imeru. Amen. We rise in body or spirit as we join together with Baruch Hu, page 28. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. We read together at the top of page 30. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim b'chochma poteach she'arim uvitfuna mishane itim umachalif et hazmanim umisader et hakochavim b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or uma'avir yom umevi layla umavdil ben yom uvein layla Adonai tzivaot shemo El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed Baruch ata Adonai hama'ariv aravim. Page 32. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Utanu limaditam Al ken Adonai Eloheinu B'shovenu v'kumenu Nasiach b'chukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד כי הם חיינו לאורך ימינו ובהם נהגה יומם ולילה ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. 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 ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. You may be seated as we join together on page 36. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. We read together at the bottom of page 39. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice, as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. We join together in that song, Bichamocha, page 40. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Mikambo chama elim Adonai, mikambo chaneda makodesh, nora tehilo tosefele, nora tehilo tosefele. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקי הים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלי ענו ואמרו, זה אלי ענו ואמרו. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Gaal Yisrael. We read together at the top of page 43. Let there be love and understanding among us. That we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, hapore sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Shabbat is always a time of also great joy. When we celebrate this time of rest, we join in this text that reminds us of that. Yismechu, the bottom of page 44. la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, yismechu v'malchutecha. Shomrei Shabbat, Shomrei Shabbat, Yismechu v'malchutecha. Shomrei Shabbat v'kol re'onei, HaMekadeshesh Shvi, Kulam yismehu ve'yitzangu mituvecha me'ashvi'i. Ratzita bo v'kidashto, yismechu v'malchutecha. Shomrei Shabbat, Shomrei Shabbat, yismechu v'malchutecha. Shomrei Shabbat v'kol re'onei, Chemdat yamim oto karata, Zecher l'maaseh v'reishit, Yismechu v'malchutecha. Shomrei Shabbat, Shomrei Shabbat, Yismechu v'malchutecha. Shomrei Shabbat v'kol re'onei, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la 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 la. We rise again in body or spirit as we turn to page 46, as we join together in these prayers of our Amidah. Adonai sfatai tiftach, Adonai sfatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai svatai tiftach, Adonai svatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם וזרעת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה כל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד אתה בחכה חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ולמידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. We continue independently, silently, through page 60, including the prayers of our hearts. Please take your time and feel free to be seated at your own pace. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Lehola. אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. שלום רב, ישראל עמך, תשים להולה. We turn to page 259 as we join in this prayer for the state of Israel. Sha'alu shalom Yerushalayim, yishlayu havayich. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper. Avinu shebashamayim, tzur Yisrael v'goalo, barech et medinat Yisrael, reshit tzmichat geulatenu. O Heavenly One, protector and redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen. We turn back to page 253 as our thoughts turn to those in need of healing of mind, body, and spirit. We think of Alex Botkin, Dana Green, Tony Linder, Rosalind Richmond, Helene Kessler-Burke, Gary Kaplan, Dr. Jane Siegel, Maxine Oringer, Malka Bat Tamar, Itamar Ben Meir, Murray Reinwald, Leona Green, Carl Molenberg, Ellen Maraskin, Eric Scott, Michaela Robbins, Alan LeBlanc, Robert Dierenfeld, Samuel Kaplan, Susan Liebler. If you're thinking of anyone of any faith or background that you would like to include for this blessing tonight, please feel free to share their name as I face your direction. Rob Lieberthal. We join together in these words of Misha Berach. Misha Berach avotenu mekor habracha lehimotenu. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishem Berach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of a healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of the body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Rofei HaCholim. We always like to take these moments now to celebrate the good things that are happening in our lives and in our community. So as I come around, if you have something to share, we would love to hear it. Anyone on this side? It's all about.
First of all, it's always good to be back home at Temple Sinai.
Welcome back.
But this weekend especially, because I came back for my son and I to share our birthdays, which are 2 days apart, Monday and Wednesday.
Mazel tov, happy birthday times two.
I got into my dream school.
Excellent. What school is it?
Pittsburgh Institute of Mortuary Science.
Excellent. Mazel tov. We look forward to working with you in the future. So we work with graduates of there.
Okay, just a little announcement. I earned my boater safety certificate that enables me to rent pontoon boats in Pennsylvania.
Mazel tov. Look forward to you driving me around on some beautiful lake.
Wednesday is my younger granddaughter's birthday. She'll be 24.
Mazel tov.
My birthday is a week from Sunday, and we're celebrating it in Boston.
Wonderful. Do you have any specific plans? Sounds fun. Right? Yeah. Yeah, like cannoli or something, right?
All right, so I got a new job this summer. I spent a week in Detroit for Maccabi, and as soon as I got back, this one proposed to me, so I'm now engaged.
Mazel tov.
I have an announcement to make. She just mentioned the Maccabi games. I'm proud to announce that next August, the Jewish Community Center and the University of Pittsburgh will host the National Maccabi Games here in Pittsburgh. It will be a big, big event.
Absolutely. We look forward to having all of those young athletes here. It's very exciting. Right. We will join together in this blessing of Shechianu, thanking God for bringing us to these times of celebration. אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה Shabbat Shalom. I would first like to thank Rob Lieberthal, who was planning on speaking tonight, and he wrote a beautiful Devar Torah, but he's unfortunately at home sick and couldn't join us. So we really look forward to, I don't know if he's perhaps maybe watching, I don't know, he probably isn't at home watching, but if you see this ever in the future, we would love to have you back with us speaking in the future. I know he has a wonderful things to share. This week we begin a new book of the Torah, the final book of the Torah, which is the book of Deuteronomy. As I was thinking about this over the past day, I thought back to how we have special words, which we said last week at the conclusion of every book of the Torah. We say the words, Chazak, Chazak, V'nit Chazek. Be strong, and may we all be strengthened by the words of Torah. And yet, we don't have specific words for starting a new book of Torah. We, of course, always say a blessing before and after every Torah reading, but doesn't starting a new book of Torah deserve its own blessing? It's a Shechianu moment, right? The reality is that the beginning of every book of the Torah takes us in a brand new direction. In Genesis, we start all over again, or we start from the beginning with creation. In Exodus, we meet a Pharaoh who did not know Joseph. In Leviticus, we almost immediately are brought into the presentation of a system of very complex laws. In Numbers, a census takes place at the beginning, noting various statistics, Rob would like that, related to the tribes of Israel. And now we are at Devarim, the book of Deuteronomy, and the name Deuteronomy itself is derived from the Greek word that means a copy or repetition of the law that was previously stated. And at the beginning of this book, Moses begins to retell many of the things that have happened to him and to the people up until now. And there's a lot of repetition in general to come in this book beyond this week's beginning portion, perhaps the most famous being a restatement of the Ten Commandments. And yet, not all of these restatements are exactly the same as the first. For example, the Deuteronomy version of the Ten Commandments has notable differences from the original in Exodus, differences that have resulted in a lot of commentary on the meaning of the changes, one that even informs how we think about Shabbat every time we light 2 candles, to Shamor v'Zachor, taking one word originally from Exodus, Shamor, and one word from Deuteronomy, Shamor, Zachor, so that we observe and remember Shabbat, to use those 2 candles to symbolize these 2 separate and yet very linked commandments. In the book of Deuteronomy, we have arrived at a point where Moses now shares a much more personal view of everything that has happened. Whereas earlier points in the Torah are more objective and third person in view, here Moses is recollecting his own experience. My colleague, Rabbi Sari Laufer, pointed out in this week's Torah commentary from the URJ that Moses' recollection is not always 100% accurate as to what happened previously in the Torah. She points to chapter 1, verses 20 through 26, where Moses retells of the scouting out of the land of Canaan to determine its future suitability for the people. And Moses is speaking here in this portion. He says, "Then all of you came to me, and you said, 'Let us send agents ahead to reconnoiter the land for us and bring back word on the route we shall follow and the cities we shall come to.' He is then saying, 'I approved of the plan, and so I selected from among you 12 participants, 1 representative from each tribe, and they gave us this report.' And these 12 participants said, 'It's a good land that our God is giving to us.' Moses says, 'Yet you refused to go up and flouted the command of your God.' Now, if you know anything about this story, as Rabbi Laufer points out, this is far from what actually happened in that original story in the earlier part of the book of Numbers. We call that story the story of the spies. The spies return from Canaan. They look at the land. They come back with very dire and negative reports. The people were thus influenced by these reports, and not surprisingly, were not eager to enter this land out of fear from what they heard. Biblical scholar Dr. Rabbi Zev Farber comments that each story is different when retold by Moses decades later. He is preparing for his death and digesting the bitter pill of partial failure and punishment. Moses' version of events reflects his own take. At this stage, Moses is anything but dispassionate and objective. And so my question for you is, how many of you have retold a story and have been told by family or friends, well, that's not exactly what happened? Maybe you changed a few details, maybe you exaggerated, maybe you left parts of the entire story out. There is the story of what happened, and then there's the story of what we choose to tell. And yet, as Rabbi Laufer states, we are the masters of our own memories. We can try to shape the past and the future, but somewhere along the way, we have to cede control. I, as a cantor, spend a lot of time with the chanting system of the Torah, known as trope. This system provides for us 3 things. 1, as you could guess, it's a musical system that often serves as a helpful memory device to remember the text. I always ask my students when they think about a popular song that they know the lyrics to, and I ask, did you spend a lot of time trying to remember those words? And they shake their head, no. Music helps connect those parts of our brain automatically. 2, it marks the words, noting the proper pronunciation and stress of the words. And anyone can use this to read the Hebrew, even if you don't know how to use, if you haven't studied the trope system. You just look for that little symbol. Wherever it lands on the word, that's the stress of the word. And third, this is the most important thing and essential thing that trope does. It's a system of punctuation that creates notable phrases in the text. It's punctuation that otherwise is entirely inexistent in the Torah scroll itself. This is because the oral tradition of the trope system was not canonized into a printed system with actual symbols until much after the existence of Torah scrolls, which had already been around for close to 2,000 years at that point. Somewhere between the 7th and 9th centuries of the Common Era, a group of scribes in northern Israel came together to create the trope system. Along with the system of vowels that go hand in hand, we rely upon those today to read Hebrew on an almost constant basis. The law of Torah scrolls and writing a Torah scroll itself notes that you can never ever change the scroll from its original text. And thus, the system was never going to be introduced into changing the way that Torah scrolls were written. And thus, our scrolls that we have today are almost exactly the same as the ancient scrolls. The interpretation of Torah is rarely black and white. I actually describe it as a lot of gray. And because of that, at some point in the past, I started to find that the trope system was giving me new insights. While in many places in the Torah, the trope is basic and just phrases words together, creating natural pauses, commas, and periods, there are many other places in the text where a more elaborate trope with a florid melody will be sung on a word. And for me, some of these moments highlight certain words to make them stand out from the rest. There are some places where trope patterns parallel one another, tying these phrases together. Sometimes these are not even in the same chapter or the same book. There are certain tropes which make words stand alone, separated from words that come before or after, once again making them stand out. Each and every one of these interpretations has opened my mind over the years to new approaches in understanding the Torah, and one that I have always been open to and excited about as one of many approaches to understand these words. While there are countless examples of these moments, which I have named tropeful moments, this is the name of my currently on hiatus for 2 years podcast, which is on this very topic. I want to point out that just a handful that exist in this week's Torah portion. One of the most basic things that the trope does on a word is what we call text painting. This uses a musical pattern to physically represent the meaning of the word. In this week's portion, in chapter 2, verse 24, Moses is describing the call to the people by God to continue to travel through the desert. The words kumu se'u start this sentence, and they're sung on this melody. Kumu se'u. This means, kumu, it means up. Se'u is a command. These are both commands. So go up and set out on your way, se'u. And we can hear in these words that there's a musical command here as well, where the music seems to accentuate the meaning of the text. Moses' past reflection is clearly focused on one of many of these active moments, and in the second chapter of Deuteronomy, the very first word in the second chapter of Deuteronomy opens with a word vanephen, which means and we marched, and it's sung like this. Vanephen. So we're saying and we marched. This word is by itself in the phrasing. So it's there's like a comma, and then there's the next part of the phrase. And so it makes this word stand out alone. It's also the first word of the chapter, really setting a tone as we move through a long chapter. And this is describing the march forward into the wilderness from the Sea of Reeds during the Exodus of Egypt. Moses is recollecting all these major moments in the history of the people. So what does the trope have to tell us? We're going to go back to Moses' retelling of the scouting of the land of Canaan. This is a long section. This was the contradiction pointed out earlier by Rabbi Laufer. Verse 26 is sung as such and would sound like this in English. Yet you refuse to go up and flouted the command of your God. The trope gives us a layer of interpretation. That first, as you heard, there was text painting on the word up. So you refuse to go up, the note goes up. And then it places emphasis on this middle word. It's set to its own box there in between the phrases. Flouted, that is standing out as a divider between the two phrases at the beginning and the end of the sentence. This depicts Moses as holding a grudge in this statement against the people, and maybe he has a right to hold on to that grudge while grappling with his own mortality, which is happening throughout this entire recollection period in the book of Deuteronomy, and the sad fact that God has forbidden Moses to enter into the land with his people. As with any element of Torah interpretation, we all are free to accept or reject the interpretation, to wrestle with it as we guide ourselves toward a place of understanding, and that process itself, I think, is the most valuable piece of Torah. The end of this week's portion ends in a fairly simple, resolute way, one that I would say is a satisfying ending to the lessons Moses imparts upon the people in this portion. And while Moses will have much more to say throughout the entire book of Deuteronomy, the end of this portion paints a picture of Moses reassuring the people and his successor Joshua, saying about those that they will eventually meet in the land of Canaan these words: "Do not fear them, for it is Adonai your God who will battle for you." Chanted, "Do not fear them, for it is Adonai your God who will battle for you." A simple and beautiful phrase to end this week's Torah portion, and I wish you Shabbat Shalom. We have a number of announcements that you hopefully have seen on the announcement handout. One of the most important ones is we want you to join us for the Pirates Jewish Heritage Night, happening in just about 2 weeks a little under 2 weeks, on Tuesday, August 27th. It's always really fun. I think the deadline to get your tickets, though, is coming up this Tuesday, so join us for that. You'll see a number of other things that are happening later this month. I want to give great thanks to Susan for being our host tonight, our greeter, and I'll give a shout out for our choir has just started its journey toward the high holidays. It is still totally open doors for anybody who would like to join us over this very special period of putting together music that is rather important and amazing journey, putting that together as we do that over the next 2 months for the holidays. We join together every Wednesday evening from now until past Rosh Hashanah. So hopefully you'll join us for that. We will have our services and Torah study as per usual tomorrow morning. Please join us for that. And for now, we will return to our service as we rise in body or spirit for Aleinu, page 282. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'tekidu l'aliot seher bereshit, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו כל רעים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. You may be seated. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. We think of those whose time of yahrzeit has come: Nancy Alter, Sarah Berman, Sandra Blackson, Alice Brandeis, Herbert Brandeis, Anna Brodsky, Rose Kolker, David Davidson, Morris Essman, William Fishback, Edward Fishbein, Raphael Galpern, Elise Gaston, Linda Goldberg, Rachel Goldberg, David Green, Max Greenberg, Meyer Greenberg, John Hanlon Sr., Leon Heller, Lauren Hirsch, William Kaplan, Samuel Kaufman, Hilda Katzen, Nathan Katzen, Bertha Landau, Sydney Levine, Sarah Lipsick, Libby Mann, Violet London Marcus, Leon Mendelson, Eleanor Moll, Sophie Newman, Ward Oliver, Ernest Plout, Dorothy Raffson, Harold Ruttenberg, Bruce Ruttenberg, Arnold Schillett, Betty Schillmeister, Joan Shapiro, Philip Shosda, Randy Susan Silverman, Samuel Pat Solomon, Amalia Steinbach, Jeanette Tansky, Yetta Wedner, Meta Weinstein, Bert Weiss, Sam Weitz, Rose Zager, Rahil Zamuel. And we think of those recently departed in our community: Mark Greenspan, Irene Roslyn Polnick, Joel Kaufman, Albie Romanoff, Cherry Mock, Alan Levinson, Elaine Leskold. If you are including anyone tonight for Kaddish Yatom who I've not yet mentioned, please feel free to share their name at this time. We join together as one community as we join in these words of Kaddish, page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'gala v'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'amei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'al v'yitromam v'yitnasei, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei kudesha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, dal miram be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlam maraba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'imromav, hu ya'asei shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and to all the world, to which we say, amen. We will join together momentarily following the service back in the auditorium for Kiddush and Motzi, but for now, we'll join together in this closing Osei Shalom. Osei Shalom bimromav, Hu yaseh Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Shabbat Shalom.